Tim Travels. It's Terry, your host, with Beatrice, my co-pilot. So we are headed back east, and we are at Donner Summit right now, and we've come up the I guess the easy side, although it's pretty long. Come up the west side of the Sierras, and we're here at the pass, and we're going to take a little ride going down. This is the steep side, so I'll try to narrate a little bit, but if you've never been over this, it's kind of cool. So hang on. Just to kind of set the stage here a little bit, I picked up a load of yams this morning in Atwater, California, and it's just like a bulk load, so they're just like yams all over the inside of my trailer. So that load is, I think, around 45,000 pounds. Nice clear day. Of course, it's also, that's part of the problem. If you listen to my last video, it's kind of a nice clear day. No rain clouds in the sky. So I'm on a full Jake brake, level 3. And I'm at 43 miles an hour, kind of holding there. Like I am, and especially like the iconic train routes across America or around America. So trains conquered these mountains way before vehicles were invented, cars or trucks or anything. And so the I-80 was kind of built around the railroad, and so it's hard. It'll be hard to see, but there's kind of a line on the mountain across the valley here, and that's the rail line. And so a little bit ago, I had stopped just to go to the bathroom, and I caught a glimpse of the Amtrak California Zephyr coming out of a snow shed up above me. And if you don't know what the snow sheds are, they look like tunnels, but they're not really tunnels. They're just usually wood protection built over the railroad tracks, so that when it snows in the wintertime, especially in places that are avalanche prone, the avalanche will come down the mountain, and instead of burying the railroad tracks, it just kind of shunts over the top of the snow shed. And you know, obviously they still plow and they still use rotaries and stuff like that on those tracks because there's heavy snowfall. But there's also a lot of snow sheds in places where they know there are going to be avalanches. And it's probably, you might be able to see it, but off to the right there is a snow shed, and where you can see it is where the trees are missing, so it's a pretty slick face, and so they know that that's an avalanche point. So it flattened out a little bit. I put my cruise back on. I just had my cruise set at 55, but I went to the Jake brake there. I'm going to take the cruise off. So I'm at 55 right now, just to give you an idea. There's Donner Lake is down to the right beside us. So I'm at 57, and you know, I think everybody knows this truck speed limit in Cali is 55 everywhere. So I'm at 58. We're coming down towards Truckee, California, which is on the Truckee River. So I believe that the lake maybe feeds into the river, but I'm not certain about that. I do know that a branch of the river runs down into Lake Tahoe, which is south of Reno, and then another branch runs through Reno. Okay, so I'm down to 48. I'm going back to level 2, or up to level 2, I guess you could say. This road is really busy. It's a Friday afternoon. I just honked for the bride to be. So 50, and then I'm back on the cruise to climb up here a little bit. You know, this is one of those places where if you're a truck driver, you just have to have I don't know if you want to call it a thick skin, but I think maybe the way to say it is you have to have a regard for safety above a regard for your fellow motorists. And what I mean by that is that my concern is to get down this mountain safely. Now obviously the weather's great today, but there's still a huge potential for bad things to happen if I'm not controlling my speed and I'm just whipping down here. So I've taken the cruise off. I'm at 57. I'm gonna slow it down a little bit. And where I'm going with this is there's a truck behind me, and he's not up on my bumper or anything. But you know, because this is a heavily traveled road, people are going, you know, leaving for the weekend and stuff. Like there was a lot of traffic coming out of San Francisco, or Sacramento, headed east towards the mountains. You know, everybody wants to get by you, everybody wants to get around you, but it's not their responsibility to get you down the mountain safely. It's yours. And so you just have to ignore them. Because if you wreck or run them over or something, it's going to be bad. And, they probably won't remember the truck that they had to spend an extra 5 seconds on their trip going around. But they will remember if you crash into them because you burned your brakes up or something. Like that truck that crashed into everybody in Denver a couple summers ago, back in 2019. So I'm back on the cruise. You can see it's kind of leveled out here. We're going to go up a little bit and then down. I mentioned Squaw Valley the other day when I was talking about the Olympics, so that's the exit to go down to head kind of southeast towards Tahoe, and Squaw Valley's down there. And if you ever come out here, it would be kind of tough to do with a truck, because there's, even though you're kind of out in the wilderness in a way, there's not a ton of truck parking at a lot of these exits. But if you ever get the chance to kind of go into Truckee, it used to be my wife kind of has a negative opinion of it. I guess she thought it used to be a sketchy old mining town, but it's actually pretty cool. It's like rich people have found it, so there's cool restaurants and shops and stuff. And there's not much to it. It's like one main drag, which is Donner Pass Road, I believe, and you can see some houses right here in town. And then just a lot of narrow little streets. But it's a pretty cool place. And there's actually a train going through town. I don't know if you caught a glimpse of that to the right when I went past that last exit. But see how far ahead of us he was. We might be able to catch a glimpse of him. And so he's heading down, and he's all over the dynamic braking and to slow his descent down into Reno. So I'm back on the cruise. I've been back on the cruise for a little bit. I'm at 55 right now. 56, and of course the guy gets in front of me and puts his brakes on. By the way, is something I really hate, because it's like you get in front of a truck that's going down a mountain or just down a hill or whatever, and you want to cut over and then put your brakes on. Okay, so back on the cruise. Speed, so I took the cruise off. We're at 55 right now. So I'm at 60 right now and full Jake brake. Okay, take it off here. know, this part of 80, both sides, you know, both eastbound and westbound. They're not the best stretches of road in America, but considering the amount of traffic that this part of I-80 gets, and considering the weather, it's in pretty good shape. So off to the left there, that toll plaza, whatever you want to call it, that's actually the agricultural check station. If you've never been into California, every single vehicle gets asked if they're carrying any produce or anything. The first time I came in a truck, I thought they were just going to ask me, like when I used to come in here with my Sprinter or whatever, or a car, and they're like, I need your bills. So now I know, and it takes just a second. They'll quickly recognize if you got anything, if you're carrying anything you're not supposed to. And then right before that is a weigh station. So it's kind of the four-wheelers kind of go around the weigh station part and then go through the toll booth area, or whatever you want to call it. So now it's getting steeper again. So I just took the cruise off. I'm on full Jake brake. I'm at 56. Holding at 56. One of my earlier videos, I can see what my brake pressure is in this truck, so I usually take it up to about 20 pounds. So now I'm just coasting at 54, 53. Go back on the cruise here for a second, although it's going to get steeper here in a little bit. Okay, get off the cruise, go to level 1 on my Jake, just to keep everything in check. So now we're crossing over the Truckee River, actually crossed it several times. So now the Union Pacific railroad tracks are to our left. That train isn't here yet, so we're beating them down the mountain. And they go really slow depending on how much weight they have. So I'm just coasting and I'm at 56. So don't tell safety. Now I'm at 55, you can tell safety. Still coasting. My mileage though for this has dropped down to 9.7. Still coasting. I'm at 54. Go back on the cruise. coming down these mountains, it's just a question of, it's all speed management, right? Knowing how much you weigh approximately. And I say, you don't need to know down to the 10-pound level, but you need to know approximately how many thousand pounds you are. So I know I'm about 78.4. Although I took on like 60 gallons of fuel just south of Sacramento, so maybe that was probably about 420 extra pounds. I burned some of that off, so I'm no more than 88, or excuse me, 78. I'm no more than I apologize. I'm no more than 79. Just going to go over this far right-hand lane. I mentioned, the one thing I hate is when they add a lane to the right and you get in it and then you almost immediately have to get out of it. Okay, so I'm coasting, I'm at 56. I'm going to go to level 2 because I can see up here where it's going to give me a steep decline sign on the right. So now I'm at 54. I'll go to level 1. Take it off. So it's telling me 5% grade for 3 miles. Slowing down a little too much. So I'll go back on to cruise. I'm actually at 50 right now, so I'll slow down, like I said, a little too much. So there's a trail over there. You probably won't be able to see it, but I think it's a bike trail that goes from like Reno up to Truckee. Could be wrong, but I think that's what it is. It looks like you can ride a mountain bike along there. It's even got phone poles beside it. Okay, so level 3 Jake brake. This is 59, 58 miles an hour. Now I'm coming into this corner that's a tip over risk, so I'm just going to take some more speed off. About 15 pounds of brake. Now I'm down to 54. Okay. Another 15 pounds of braking. Now I'm down to 50. It's level at 49. I'm going to take my Jake brake off and just kind of go through here in 9th gear. I'm going to upshift but not actually put my foot on the accelerator. So I'll pick up a little more speed when I'm coasting. So upshift again. I'm at 51 miles an hour. Now I'm just coasting at 53, 54. And I got a curve sign here for 55 miles an hour. I'm at 54. And I'm not saying that's the formula. Sometimes you need to be at 48 for a 55 curve. But I'm just coasting around this at like 53 miles an hour, and it doesn't feel uncomfortable. I don't feel a ton of push. Okay, so now I'm at 55, 56. Giving some Jake brake. Again, the guy behind me, he's a pro. He's not climbing up my butt. He's not in a race to get to the bottom. So it's nice when you got drivers around you that are realize there's a lot more driving to be done than just speeding down this one mountain. This one So I'm at 52 coasting, gonna drop down level 2, 55, 56, go to level 3. I wasn't sure if 2 was gonna hold that. So at 59, I'm giving it some brake, service brake that is, down to 57. Okay, still at level 3 on the Jake. 57, I'm going to take the Jake off in 10th gear. Okay, now I'm coasting. Now the railroad tracks are back on our right. So just coasting, 500 RPM, 57 miles an hour. And you know, a big part of driving in the mountains especially, but driving your truck anytime, is not wailing on your truck. It's, you know, asking your truck to work hard when it needs to, giving it a break, even if that means you slow down so you don't have to, and when I say giving it a break, what I mean is B-R-E-A-K, not like service brake, and not dogging it, so that, you know, you got brakes left when you need them. You have an engine that can handle, you know, that additional pressure from the Jake brake. So now I'm going to go back on a cruise. I'm at 51. So 20 miles from Reno. 54, climbing just a little bit here. Okay, now I'm coasting. And I went to coast there just because, you know, I'm on the cruise. So 50 miles an hour, I'm coasting down. I'm going to pick up speed quickly. 51, 52, 53. I took my cruise off. 54. Go to level 1 here. 55. I'm going to level 3 because I can just see this curve coming up. And it's a 55 curve. Now I'm doing 56, so I'm going to give it a little bit of service brake here. Okay, 53. Get off the Jake. Kind of coast around at 52. Mr. Swift is going to blow by me here on the left side. Okay, I'm at 52. But I know I'm still going to pick up speed, so I'm not going back on a cruise. I'm not accelerating. 53. Now, this curve is a 60 mile an hour curve. There's 54. Mr. Swift is doing 63. There's 55. Holding 55 with no input from me. 56, slight incline. Going back on the cruise. I know I'm going to climb a little bit here. Now I'm just coasting because it senses that I'm going to hit a downhill again. By the way, if you've watched this far, you may actually be watching part 2 of this video, because I was thinking it would not take me quite as long to get down from the summit. I was thinking it was going to be more like in the 15-minute range, or maybe 20, but so this probably will be part 2. So I'm coasting at 58, kind of holding there. 57. 56. And that's the other thing I try to do, is like I pay close attention to my speed just to see what the trend is. You know, see it, make sure I'm going in the right direction. So now I've hit the bottom here for this part. going up. I've already gotten back on the cruise, downshifted into 11. I'm at 52 miles an hour. Sierra County, California line, but it's not going to be very long. We'll be in Nevada. Like just, I think it's only like maybe 5 or 6 miles that you're in Sierra County. Okay, so still on the cruise, but I'm at 53, 54, 55. 56. Take the cruise off, go to level 1. I'm at 57, 58. Okay, I went to 59, so I'm going to level 2. Still holding there. I went to 60, so I see the trend. I'm still climbing. So I go to level 3, now I'm back to 59. 57, 56. Level 2, I'm at 55, going back to level 1, hit 54, so I'm taking it off, go back on cruise. So it's probably hard to tell. I don't know if it was able to be seen, but there were railroad tracks on the, because the river's right beside us to the right. There were railroad tracks on the other side that had a snow shed. Here's the Nevada line coming up. So there were tracks on the other side of the river that had a snow shed. And you could still see it off to the right up here, that snow shed. But what Union Pacific's done over the years is they moved those tracks, so they made a different road bed for the railroad, and so they have 2 tracks because this is a main line for them. So I just went on the Jake brake, taking off my cruise. But they moved the tracks to the other side of the river, so there's less, they don't need a snow shed. So now I'm just coasting at 53. They don't need a snow shed for those 2 lines because it's too far for an avalanche to reach. Alright, so we're in Nevada, slowing down here, and that's pretty much coming down. We're pretty much down the east side of the Sierras here. So thanks for watching. Like I said, this will probably be a 2-parter, but I hope you get to watch it at some point and you've enjoyed it. And I'm going to do a little cycling, I think, while I'm in Reno. We'll have to see how the schedule looks, and may attach that to part of this video. So anyway, thanks for watching Tim Travels, and we'll talk to you soon.